Happy 4th of July! Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Kharma's Card Reviews! Today I'm going to be reviewing the Bicycle Stars and Stripes card deck, which I got in Cincinnati over spring break this year, because my boyfriend and I toured Factory 52, and there was a whole vending machine of card decks, and I chose this one because I didn't have it. It looks really nice, and it's still in its plastic wrapping. That way I get to enjoy the excitement of opening it and seeing it for the first time, along with all of you. As they say in Legally Blonde, great movie and musical if you haven't seen that. You look like the 4th of July, which I certainly do. I dressed for the occasion, wearing my camp counselor shirt that's blue and tie-dye and Party in the USA theme, and my red head bandana, as I like to call it, and some red rose earrings. Plus, I'm actually wearing my favorite light blue Crocs as well. So, I'm definitely ready for the 4th of July, and I hope that you guys are all celebrating the season with some hot dogs and fireworks as well. Without further ado, let's get right into the review. So, here's the card deck up close and personal, and the first thing I'm noticing is this front cover that we got here. You'll see that not only does the title say Stars and Stripes in a beautiful gold font, but the front cover actually has stars and stripes all across it. It has these beautiful stars in a navy blue border, just like the American flag. And also it has red and white stripes going vertically, which is kind of an interesting choice that it's not going horizontally to mirror the American flag, but I like the way it looks anyway. And there's also some red stars, or I should say white stars on a red background right there. And I'm also really liking the borders and the different imagery that they have going across. You can see that they have like unique bubbly shapes right there, and what look like half crescent moons right there. And they have just a nice border that connects all the way from the bicycle logo, and you'll see that it connects all the way through there. Next, we're checking out the side, and it's air cushion finish. We always like to see that, and I'm going to be, in a minute, going over what air cushion finish actually means, because I'm realizing in none of my card reviews do I actually show the difference between air cushion finish cards and non-air cushion finish cards. On the other side, we have the title placard, Stars and Stripes, so you don't forget which deck it is. We have a nice stamp seal. It's just a basic stamp seal. It's just a black spade. And on the back, we get a sneak peek of what the back of the cards are going to be looking like, which is shields, which kind of look like the original Captain America shield. I'll put an image up right here. And we have some more of those funky shapes around the shields and the vertical stripes, as well as some stars on the border, just like the front of the box. With that out of the way, let's get right into what's inside. Now that we're ready to review what's inside the box, let's get this plastic wrapping off. And there we go. Another thing that I want to do is I want to slit the stamp seal that's right there. Other people, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, they like to peel the stamp seal off, but I personally like to slit it with scissors, that way I keep it. This is taking much longer than I anticipated. Okay, I finally got it open. I think it's kind of funny that you can definitely hear like my real voice versus my like animated voice in these videos. Like while I'm intently carving out this stamp seal, I talk like this, but then in my videos I talk like this, and it's really funny to hear the difference. It's called like a customer service voice if you've seen those TikToks online. It's really funny. Anyway, back to the review. We got the stamp seal open, and let's crack this baby open. Okay, the inside of the box I'm seeing is a plain white, which I kind of expected. I mean, this one is definitely supposed to be going for a more simplistic style, and I'm kind of hoping that this one is going to be true to the bicycle standard style with the font and everything, just because we haven't seen one of those in a while where it's a take on the original bicycle deck. A lot of times, like, with the Disney Princess one or the Nightmare Before Christmas one, we've seen those where they have like intricate designs and different fonts, but I haven't yet reviewed one that just has regular fonts. So first things first, let's review these Jokers, and as you'll see, I was kind of right that they're going for a basic simplistic design, kind of going back to the regular bicycle deck, because you can see that the king is the same character as they have in the other decks. And as Bicycle likes to do, we have both the black and red Jokers, which I always appreciate. Theory 11, not to call them out, but they don't really separate which one's the black one, which one's the red one. Oh, and this ace looks very nice. Oh, look at that. Wow. I really like that. I really like how detailed it is, which is to be expected. I mean, the Ace of Spades is usually the most detailed card in the deck, aside from the Jokers in some decks, but that just looks amazing. And I think that the detail on that is very nice with the stars and stripes going out radially. I really like that. And I like that it says Stars and Stripes on a cute banner right there. That's really nice too. And I'm noticing that I think the font is the same or very similar to the regular bicycle deck. Okay, I think the font is different, very slightly. Moving on to the Ace of Spades. No, we already covered that. Moving on to the Two of Spades. We have the spades with stars in them, which looks really nice. And it's kind of hard to see, but I'm just now noticing that instead of being black, this is actually a very deep navy blue. And I'm wondering if the camera can pick that up, but it's not actually black, which is really nice. And I think that it translates really well to this color scheme because the red in the flag translates to the red suits, and the blue, dark enough, looks like black. So I think that the color scheme translates really well, and I'm glad that they took advantage of that. The 3 is also simplistic with just stars in the middle of the spades. And let's move on, because I know you guys want to get to the exciting parts, but I gotta build a little bit of suspense. So here we have the 10 looking really nice, and I really like that. Like I said, sometimes I enjoy the simplicity, and so I really like that. Now let's go to the Jack. The Jack is a basic bicycle Jack, but you'll see the stars are in the spades in the corners, and that looks really nice. And of course, symmetrical, because the original bicycle decks are symmetrical. The Queen is also a basic queen, but we have the stars and the stripes in her wardrobe, as well as the unique spades right there. And the font, the Q looks different from a regular bicycle deck Q. And that looks really nice. And I think that that looks really amazing, especially since the stars and stripes are everywhere. They're even in her hood right there. The King, here we go. We have the King. And that looks really nice. I like that they put the stars and stripes in his hat. This guy is decked out, maybe even more so than I am for the 4th of July. Oh, we get on to the Ace of Diamonds, and this is a nice surprise. They actually decorated it and made it big and detailed, which is really nice to see, because I wasn't expecting that. Since the rest of this deck was so simplistic, I expected them to just do a singular small ace, but that looks really nice. And you can see that it's all one color, unlike the Ace of Spades, which had multiple colors on it. And for the 2 of Diamonds, we're bringing back the stars, but instead putting them in the red diamonds, which is really nice. Same thing with these cards. And here's the 10, which looks really nice. And the Jack. Now the Jack looks very similar. Now the Jack looks very similar, of course, to its counterpart, but you'll see that one is one-eyed and one is two-eyed. And the reason for that, well, I guess I can't answer that. I don't really know the real reason. But one of the things that it's handy in is this game called Gimme 5, which I hope to do a card tutorial on in the future. I've been wanting to branch out and do card game tutorials, And Gimme 5 is definitely one of those that I want to do. Well, in the game Gimme 5, you can use jacks as wild cards, and that's handy because one is one-eyed, and Gimme 5, if you don't know, it's a lot like the game Sequence, which is kind of like a board game version of Connect 4, but you can remove and place extra tokens with wild cards. And the one-eyed jack means you get to remove a chip, and the two-eyed jack means you get to add on a chip anywhere. And so that's really nice. That's my little nerd tangent of the day. You know that I have to have at least one of those in my card deck reviews. Our Queen of Hearts, looking beautiful and elegant. You'll notice that her hood is slightly different from the other one. You'll see that instead of having the blue stars as the border, she has red. And our king, which this time is looking to the side instead of straight forward. And the robe is slightly different as well, but the hat's got to remain the same, am I right? Somebody buy me that hat. I kind of want it now. Now we're moving on to the King of Clubs, and something that I always love about Bicycle is the kings aren't just copied and pasted, they're all very similar. So even though this is a two-eyed king, look how the pose is just slightly shifted. This one is more of a straightforward looking on to the camera, whereas this one's more of like a 3/4 or 45-degree angle turn, if that makes sense. It makes sense to my math brain, but I know that most of the world doesn't think like I do. So hopefully that made sense to you, but I think that that's really neat that Bicycle always has like small details like that. And that's not even something that's like they do intentionally anymore. I doubt that it was intentional, but who knows how long Bicycle cards have been around. I'm sure I'll put a date up here for when they were founded, but that's just something that is really neat, and it really brings you back to the first times that it was founded because it's really like an antique tradition. Now with the queen still holding her signature flower, you'll see she has a flower there and a flower there. And this one looks very similar, but again is slightly different because look at the border. The stars border right there on her hood. She doesn't have that. She just has a navy blue one that's solid. And let's get to the jack. That looks really nice. And I like his little hat. I think it's kind of goofy. It's a different hat from the other jack that we have. And again, just the amount of detail and how it's symmetrical. Like, I really like that little wobbly line right there and how that translates to being symmetrical. I really like stuff like that. You can probably guess what the 10 of clubs is going to look like. But here we go. We have the clubs with stars in the middle. And that looks really nice. Same thing with our 9. And you can see it's the same thing with all of these. So let's get to the 2 so I can build suspense for the ace, as I like to do. Probably drives you guys crazy. You're just crazy lost in suspense, I know. But here you go. Here is our ace of clubs. And that looks really nice. It looks very similar to the ace of diamonds, except just a different color and, of course, a different shape. But the detail on that is just amazing. Especially in the central figure. That just, wow. Like, you can see every wrinkle in her dress. That looks great. It's killing me that I'm not sure who she's supposed to be. I would have loved it if it was the Statue of Liberty, but it's not. Editor Kharma here. The figure is, in fact, Lady Liberty, and she actually appeared on the Ace of Spades in the Vietnam War, because the U.S. military commissioned Bicycle cards to create just a bunch of aces of spades, because they were known as bad luck. So soldiers would just spread Ace of Spades all the time, everywhere in, like, the forests, just to scare away Viet Cong soldiers, which is very interesting. So, fun fact. Here we have a king pulling a little trickster joke. He's like pretending to stab his head. Just kidding. I don't know that that's what he's really doing. I think he's just holding it in a weird pose. But I can't say it's that weird because, again, it's on every other basic Bicycle deck ever. So, not that weird. They made it normal, right? And we have a queen. Again with the flower. And again with the cute hood. And that just really looks nice with the stripes. And we have a one-eyed Jack. And we have 10. Which I think it looks really nice with the hearts for some reason. The stars and hearts just looks really cool. And maybe that's just something unique to me, but I just think that looks really good. I think it looks best with the hearts and the spades you'll see right there. I just think that looks really neat. And finally, we have our Ace of Hearts, which looks very similar to the other cards. Still has that figure, just in a different pose, and of course a different color. And that brings us to our ad card, which we have our double-backed card, which has the backing symmetrical ×4, because look at that. And we have our ad card, Shout Out Bicycle, great card company. I'm not sure which is my favorite card company right now, Theory 11 or Bicycle, but maybe Bicycle, if I'm being real. I have so many of their cards, and I like that they're simplistic, because the Theory 11 ones always make me nervous because they're so detailed and so beautiful that it makes me nervous to use them because I don't want to mess them up or fold them or bend them. Whereas with Bicycle ones, I feel like it's almost a rite of passage to fold them or bend them. We all are a card-playing family, and it's just like a tradition that we love to do at holidays or just anytime we see each other. And we love playing Rummy, Give Me 5, which is the game that I mentioned earlier, and 31, and Blackjack, and Euchre. But there's my second rant of the day. You guys get to know a little bit more about me, which I hope you enjoy. And goodbye. So I decided to get out a regular Bicycle deck of cards and compare the cards from the Stars and Stripes deck to this deck. And as you'll see, I was right. The font is slightly different. As well as you can see I was right, the color is a navy blue, and it's an off black, whereas this is pure black. And also, I'm noticing that these symbols are much smaller than the original deck, because this isn't a jumbo deck, it's just a standard deck by Bicycle. And also, you'll see that the background of the cards is actually a slightly more blue-white, whereas these are a more red or yellow-white, which is really interesting. If you look really closely, you can just barely see the difference. And I also thought it would be cool to compare all the face cards too, just so you can see that the Jack, Queen, and King all perfectly mirror the Bicycle Jack, Queen, and King. You'll see that the Jack of Spades has one eye and is holding this little scepter thingy. And the Queen is holding a flower in her hand, just like that one. And then the King has two eyes and a sword, just like that one. And so I just thought it was really interesting to see the comparison. Another thing that I promised to demonstrate in my video was the difference between air cushion finish and non-air cushion finish cards. So here, I brought out my Bicycle Prestige deck, which I still have yet to do a card review on. And I'm just going to choose any random card, it doesn't matter, to show you the difference between air cushion finish. And it's all having to do with the texture of the cards. So, if I point the camera at an angle like this, you can just faintly see a grid going across the surface of the card, of the Stars and Stripes one. Whereas you'll see that it is non-existent on the Prestige deck. And that is because what happens is on the Stars and Stripes one, there's like microscopic little holes. That's the air cushion finish, and it's for texture, and it makes the cards easier to deal with. It provides a layer of friction, whereas these make it so that the cards often stick together. So this one kind of decreases the surface area a little bit. And it's actually really nice to deal with, because when shuffling, the cards don't stick together, and they're easy to deal. And it's just really nice for friction and for shuffling and for dealing and for playing in general. So that's the difference. If you can very small see the difference, like this card is just completely smooth, and this one has that little grid. I'm trying to find a good angle. Like that. If you look towards the top, the camera really gets it right there. Whereas this one does not. I think that Bicycle cards might be my favorite card company just because it reminds me of family. And in the end, That's what this 4th of July holiday is all about. Yes, it's about the country, but more than anything, it's about celebrating with your family. So go grill up some hamburgers and hot dogs, go watch that fireworks show, and go play some card games with your family. Please do. Please enjoy the holiday, and I'm getting a little bit emotional thinking about family and stuff, so please just treasure your family, treasure these memories, and have a great 4th of July. See you in the next one.